Mad Men's been having a couple good episodes, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that was a really good one. Yeesh.
Yeesh. What makes you say yeesh, Shannon?
Yeesh. Poor Sally Draper.
Oh, yeah.
I see her future so clearly.
Yeah, Don's just going down the list, disappointing every single person in his life. It was Sally's turn, I guess, huh?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I saw on a blog somewhere a recap that showed perfectly the image of Sally seeing Dawn on top of Sylvia, right next to the image of Dawn seeing the pimp on top of his mom through the keyhole, and it's like the exact same image.
Yeah, and at first, I have to say that I wasn't quite clicking for me why Don was so shaken up about this, but I think that bringing back images of his mother, his parent, what it did to him, have to be a big part of it, and so that parallel makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you don't see why that would be upsetting?
Well, Don has had a lot of things happen, but he's never been this broken. He's like, I have no idea what to do. I'm just going to wander around. I don't know what to do.
Sally.
You guys are giving Don a lot of credit. My theory is that he's just trying to figure out how to cover his ass. He isn't as broken as much as he's just like scared that he's going to get caught finally for the first time ever in 6 seasons or however many seasons we're in.
But why is he sad about getting caught, though?
Yeah.
Because he does have feelings. Even though he's a sociopath, he sometimes feels feelings, and most of those feelings are for Sally Draper. That's what I think.
No, that very well could be. I just feel like there's a thread here of Don. I don't know. Getting caught is a big deal because then everyone runs out on you at the same time. Because Don has a very controlled environment where he always has at least 1 or 2 people who theoretically care for him. And if he gets caught like this, then like his life is over in terms of having anything to go home to. Because Sally's out, Megan's out, Betty obviously a long time ago is just having fun with him now. So
his only male friend, Arnie Rosen.
Yeah.
is out.
Right. And speaking of Arnie, was anyone else surprised by whose son we were talking about when Megan first came up with the idea that Don should do something about this kid? And he's like, that's not our problem. And I'm like, oh, it must be some random person I don't care about. And then I'm like, oh, wait, it's that guy? Interesting.
Yeah, well, Don knew who it was, though, right? But Don at first was like, yeah, let's stay out of this. It's not our problem. I was trying to figure out why he switched course, and it became an obsession for Don.
Right.
So much that he was like willing to risk their hugest client pissing him off. And I think it was when he started to figure out that Sylvia was so torn up about it. And I can't come up with any reason other than, well, maybe there's another reason, but the main reason seems to be like, oh, great, this is a way I can finally impress Sylvia and get her back, which worked. But the other thing that I'm not quite sure about is maybe Don remembering his wartime experience. Except I don't know if that was quite it. Even that's sort of what he led people to believe.
Right, and so you're not giving him any credit for doing something out of love for Megan, because Megan was really concerned about this, but maybe that's just a side benefit that's like number 3 on the list for Don.
No, I don't think that was a big factor for Don, personally.
Damn you, Don! Megan is so awesome! You should do things for her for once. Come on.
Megan is so awesome. Wow, I feel like we could have a whole podcast on that.
I like Megan. I dig her. I think she's a great character, and I would hang out with her if I were Don. Or myself.
Well, Megan does look fun to hang out with. She looks like she hangs out with beautiful people and gets invited to all the right parties and stuff like that. I will give you that.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks for summing up my interest in a woman so directly like that. No, I think she's deeper than that. It's not that she's just good looking, but she really wants good things for a lot of people. She's really trying hard to take care of kids that aren't her own, to satisfy her husband, to have her own career. I think she deserves a lot of credit, and she's not getting any from Don, so I'm compensating. I'm giving her credit.
All right. So
I'll never forgive her for Zooby Zooby Zoo. That's it.
Really?
Don't say that while I'm drinking water. I'm like, cool.
It was so embarrassing.
Oh, so embarrassing, huh? Because
but in like almost a nice. Okay, I'm not gonna try to save her on that one. I don't know.
Yeah, We're getting sidetracked here.
Haven't we talked about this? I think we've already talked about
I feel like we have. I feel like we have. Go back to the archives, people.
Right.
All right. So, okay. The other big thing that that stood out to me in this episode was Bob Benson in Pete's office with the leg to get the little clue murder weapon thing going on. Is okay. First of all, is this it? Is this what we've been building to with Bob? He's gay?
I think so. He's
I guess.
He's not a serial murderer. He's not a government spy.
It's not like
he's just a gay
Don's
guy.
son in a time machine or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was more confused by the subplot of like, wait, so do gay people have weird connections with dudes who do favors for older women who are going crazy? Like, what is going on there? What is happening to Pete's mom? Is it real or is it in her head? And what does it have to do with Bob and the gay connection? Or is that just all happening too quickly in one scene and I'm putting too much together?
Well, that is a great question. Bob has a good point. Like, what did she say? Who knows what's really going on? Did you have something you want to say on that, Shannon? Did I cut you off?
No, you didn't cut me off. But so this is what I think it is. So I think that Bob Benson he's the gay character. He's catching us up with the gay community since our dearly departed Salvatore has left us.
Right.
And Sal, he was a closeted gay man who was probably a virgin into adulthood because he was, a good Catholic boy. When we first met him, he lived with his parents. And then he got married to that girl. And he ran out the door, like, as soon as that Bel Jolie guy, like, came on to him and then went out. Like, he was obviously not sexually experienced, did not socialize with gay people, participated in the gay bashing anytime it happened around the office. Bob Benson represents a gay character in New York in 1968. Is that where we are now?
Yes.
Yeah.
1968. So there's an emergence of a gay community happening. He seems to be estranged from his family. He mentioned that, his whole family worked in finance, but he doesn't. And he's also told different people different things about actually whether or not his father is even alive. So
Right.
it seems like he's not with his family anymore. But he has friends who are gay, like Manolo. So he's socializing in the gay community enough to have a friend who is gay that he would recommend for a job. As far as Pete's mom, I think that she is imagining it, and the clue for that to me is that the only other thing she said in that conversation with Peggy was she thought she was Trudy. So I think that was a signal of how confused she is.
That's a good point.
She thought she was Trudy, and then she launched right into how she has a relationship with Manolo. But I think that it's just because he's being nice to her. Like, Pete's dad was a huge dick. And, and now she's got this gay man who takes care of her every need, dresses her up, like, to the nines.
Yeah, she's looking great.
She's overlooked. And I think she's imagining it.
Okay, but at the risk of giving Pete too much credit, which I know is a big risk, why would he care if his mom is really being taken care of and it's just that the guy is gay that's taking care of him? Is that really enough for Pete to break this really good thing that's going on for him? Because Pete is stopping this because somehow I feel like we're led to believe that Pete believes that his mom is being taken advantage of, and maybe that's just him not understanding. Or
Well, Pete has less evidence than we do, right? All Pete knows is that his mom said something to Peggy, who said something to him, and then he had this weird conversation with his mom. I don't think Pete knows for sure.
I think he doesn't know for sure, and I think he's repulsed by the idea. Well, I don't know. He was laughing about it with Peggy, but then maybe he's thought about it, and now he's repulsed and wants to fire him.
He was drunk when they were laughing, maybe that. Who knows?
He was drunk. They were flirting. I don't know. They were like, "Oh, remember that time we had a love child? Yeah, that was nice." And then he calls Bob Benson in and is like, "Is your friend raping my mom?" And then Bob says his interests don't go that way.
Right.
And that could be interpreted as old ladies or ladies in general. And I think Pete
has a new reason to fire him.
Exactly. So I think that this is also indicative of, how, I don't know why Bob proceeded to hit on him after Pete was like, rapist, gay person, equally perverted. I must fire him.
Right.
It's illegal to be gay at this time.
Yeah.
That's
illegal.
fair. That's true.
And
okay.
So I think that Pete was repulsed. It was just like a cocktail of repulsion. He's either a rapist or he's gay. Both are equally bad in Pete's mind.
Right. So I was giving Pete too much credit because if the dude's just gay, he's a great asset for Pete's mom, but Pete can't see it that way anymore, so it makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, he's tainted either way.
Right.
We're getting more and more backstory about Ted, and we're talking about MVP. Ted's going to be an early MVP candidate for me for this season. I don't know. I dig Ted.
You mean for being at war with himself? He's got a personality complex going on here. He really thinks that it's him versus Don, and Don's so aloof on that front that it really it's not even close to that, but in Ted's mind that's what's going on, and I find that fascinating.
But for some reason I can really relate to that. It's like, you know what, all these people in this show are so the way they are, but Ted's conflicted and not exactly sure what's going on. If I'm honest, I'm probably as much like that as I am like anyone else in the show.
Oh, interesting insight. Okay.
Did I cut you off that time, Shannon?
No,
Oh, okay. But he has a family who goes to, and he seems to like well enough, although he's the classic working too much, and his wife nails it when she's like, and I know you like seeing Don Draper more than you like seeing the clients. Let's be honest here, Ted.
Yeah, that was like, twisting the knife that's already stabbed in his side or whatever. And I think it's funny where he finally has something he can hold over Don, like, okay, I'm only going to do this favor for you. If you drop this client so that we can work with my client. And Don's like, who again? Sunkissed, Ocean Spray? Yeah, whatever. Like, I don't care.
I don't care. It's all your juice.
Yeah.
That's my favorite line of the episode.
I did love how Ted was like, I've sent memos. And then Jay, or not Jay, but is it Jay Cutler? Whatever. Cutler comes in. I told you not to send all those memos. No one reads them when you send them out so much. And I'm like, yeah, that's a really good point. I probably wouldn't read the memos either.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. Now I have one more question for you two. Was it just me, or did Peggy propose a three-way if Stan were to come over to deal with that rat?
Yeah, she did.
Oh yeah.
I kind of thought so.
I mean, yeah, of course.
She definitely suggested. Because how did it go? It was like, come over. I'll make it worth your while. He's like, I'm not interested. She's like, are you really?
No, he was like, no, you won't.
Yeah, no, you're not. Like, how come you're using your sexy voice? And then he sort of makes it clear that he's got someone there.
Yeah, they have a code word. It's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
You've heard it. I've heard it before on the
That's
phone.
right.
If somebody else is there, they'll say something about Tuesday.
That's right. And then, well, you can bring her, is what she says right after that. So I don't know. It sounded kind of like she was half-heartedly proposing a three-way. I just wondered if anyone else took it that way.
I didn't until you explained it to me step by step, but now I'm on board.
And
To
poor
me,
Peggy.
it was. Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it.
To me, it was throughout the episode, what newly single Peggy was like, she was going down the line as far as like possible men in her life.
Right.
Like there's Ted, no, he's taking a phone call. Oh, there's this guy I had a love child with, no, he's too, no. And then like she like goes down all the guys, and then in rock bottom at the end with the rat, she's like, fuck Stan, I'll call Stan. And she's like just like desperate. Anybody, come over here and kill this rat for me.
But she is still on the list of people she's kissed.
Yeah.
Because each of those three people have kissed Peggy, right?
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So she's like going through the rotation in the whole, like as the episode progresses. Like people
Poor
who,
Peggy.
I know, poor Peggy.
All right. So now I'm really interested. I don't know what else to say except I really can't wait because these episodes, like weeks or a month, seems to pass between them. And so what's going to happen a month after this? All the immediate aftermath of Sally doing whatever she decides to do is going to be gone, and then maybe the tension will just be ratcheted up. But really excited for this next episode to see the fallout.
Yeah, and Sally got hit hard in a couple of different ways because of her goofy little friend who's slipping love notes to neighbors, and that being misconstrued for the reasoning behind Sally being upset when she's really upset at her dad. And I feel like I could see that being played off of, and Don using that to his advantage if he's a total dick. Because oh, that's just my daughter. She doesn't know, she's going through a phase or whatever. And I think Sally is she's just not in a good place, and she doesn't have anyone she can really talk to because everyone's playing a game with her.
Mm. Mm.
It's true. I wonder if she'll tell Megan. It seems like the two of them have been butting heads lately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But she might tell her to get back at her.
Well, there's sort of this archetype of a little girl protecting daddy by keeping his secrets that maybe she'll fall into. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. All right. Okay. Well, anything anyone wants to get in there before we move on?
I just say Mad Men's back for me. Not to come across as too extreme, but the episode previous to this one was less exciting for me, and it felt like not as much was happening. But this whole thing with Sally and a few other things we talked about, it really has me interested to see how this gets resolved.
The one with Betty being back, that episode wasn't doing it for you?
That particular scene with Betty was fantastic, but the rest of it wasn't as interesting, and the whole Betty thing was almost too little too late for me. I mean, it was good, but she's not the point of the show anymore, sorry to say, in my opinion.
Sure. Well, I just wanted to bring it up because collaboration with Shannon, she on her website ran an essay I wrote about that episode, so
right,
go check it out. You can find a link probably when I get this posted up. And thanks for allowing me that, Shannon. It was great.
Of
Fun.
course, yeah.